This is Steve Allen's A Little Bit Extra, leading Britain's conversation. You're listening to our podcast of Steve Allen.
Morning, everybody. Welcome along to your free podcast for today, Wednesday, 15th of September. It's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, it's serious. It's racing through. Two things struck me. First of all, when are we going to get rid of Louise Minchin from the BBC's Breakfast Time? My God, I mean, she's had more exits and entries than Frank Sinatra. You know, just say goodbye. Off you go. Thank you very much indeed. She wants to spend quality time with her family. Really? Well, let's face it. I mean, she's BBC bland. You can't really put her on anything, as we saw with poor old Victoria Derbyshire. There wasn't a lot going on there either. In Louise Minchin's case, she says, I want to spend quality time, and she's realised how much she's missed her family. She was on the programme 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, 20 years. And she's going, I think I miss the family. No, basically, her career's gone nowhere. She's been stuck there reading auto cue. That's what she has to do, and she's took sick leave, and so that pushed her to quit BBC Breakfast. Who cares? She'll sod off. They'll bring in some other little person who can read big words on an auto cue. Who cares? You know, she's had a couple of leaving dues, all a bit dreary, and she struggled with the early mornings. And then there was a thing, wasn't there, where they were sort of saying, she might go to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of It, because the BBC sidelined her completely for Strictly. They weren't interested. You know why? They've had everybody else on the bloody programme, apart from Louise Minchin. For some reason, at the Boysdale Music Awards, Fern McCann turned up. She was hosting it. Fern McCann, she can barely string two words together. What? Can somebody tell me what the Boysdale Music Awards are? I've never even heard of them. Never even heard of them. But she's recently given up alcohol. That would be a very wise decision, dear. And she was hosting in Canary Wharf. I mean, not even knowing what it is, it doesn't really help, actually. She was wearing skin-tight leather trousers and a silver crop. Perhaps she thinks perhaps it's something I'm not aware of. Because I've got no idea what it is. I haven't got it on my screen. I've got something else on there. I've got a WhatsApp thing. Here we go. Wait a minute. The Boysdale Music Awards. Fern McCann hosting. They obviously couldn't get anybody else. A celebration of some of the greatest entertainers in the world of jazz, blues, soul, reggae and pop. What does she know about that? She can barely string two words together. They obviously went, listen, we've got a budget of 300 quid. And they went, you can have Fern McCann. Jazz and reggae. What she knows about reggae, you could write on a grain of sand. Poor soul. Happy Secret Love Day. This is sacked CBeebies star Sarah Jane Honeywell. I don't even know who she is. Sacked CBeebies star? What, they sacked somebody from CBeebies? Since when was that? I've never heard of that happening before. And she's 47, so she's a bit ancient for CBeebies, I would have thought. With her husband called Aidan Callahan. And they had Happy Secret Love Day at Aidan Callahan, along with a slew of love heart emojis. So I wonder why she was sacked. I mean, I've never heard of that before, but sacking somebody. I mean, is she because she's not any good? Because A, I've never heard of her, which doesn't really help, does it? Secondly, it's a case of what would she be sacked for? I mean, you've got to be something, you've got to be going something, haven't you, if you're sacked from CBeebies? Perhaps it was a joke. She did a topless photo shoot. Oh my goodness me, when she was younger. Really? And that was enough to sack her? Oh, blimey, they need to go to France. They have all their beaches are topless. Vienna, for the last 20, 30 years, all their swimming pools in Vienna, topless. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They don't have any hesitation. Along the banks of the Danube, beautiful, nudists. Seriously, I know because I cycled along it slowly. The other thing is, two things which actually annoyed me, which I mentioned this morning. First of all, we're going to build a holding pen in France for the migrants, so they've got somewhere nice to stay. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what are we paying for that for? Shouldn't the French be doing that? Tight-fisted little bunch of, have some more garlic. You know, we've got to get we've already given them 54 million. It's all very odd. And then the other thing, the Met Gala. Whoa, I tell you, that was like bring out all the flash clothing and the people who, you know, are big in the industry. No Victoria Beckham. No Victoria Beckham. I'm assuming she wasn't invited. You know, they were looking for people who sort of don't stand there looking like a wafer biscuit with two ping pong balls attached to the top of it. Why was she not there? The answer is she hardly ever goes out now. Look at Dave. Dave was at some awards ceremony the other night. Had to put up with George Lineker. I'll have a picture taken with you. You know, George Lineker, the most boring person under the sun. His father took him, because obviously George doesn't have any friends, and he managed to get a picture with David Beckham, who was there without Victoria. Well, what was she doing? Sitting at the sewing machine, like Rapunzel or Rumpelstiltskin. Peter Andre, always guaranteed Peter Andre can open his mouth inappropriately. You can always guarantee if somebody's going to say something so damn stupid, Peter Andre will be there. He's blasted ITV for making a scapegoat of Jeremy Kyle after his talk show was axed following a guest's death. You really are the stupidest person, Peter, alive. You really are. Why did you not keep your mouth shut? You know, it's made you look completely ridiculous. There was a guy called, as you know, Steve Diamond. It was a suspected suicide. You know, Peter Andre knows nothing about anything at all. Absolutely nothing at all. Why don't you go back to singing your little songs, dear, and looking after your little family, and leave the big boys, you know, decisions to the big boys who know better than you. That's why you're hardly ever on the television. And certainly not now on ITV, which is good news for all of us. Tom Daley reveals he took his knitting to the Met Gala. He went there. No Victoria Beckham. Obviously not considered a fashionista. Tom, stunning looking, and he was knitting at the Met Gala. And why not? Listen, there was a very famous bloke years ago called Kaif Fassett. And Kaif Fassett brought out books on knitting. He was on the television every day. He had a show teaching people about knitting. And we had somebody who used to run our news desk years ago called John. Won't tell you his surname. He knits. My mother used to knit. She would sit there watching the television knitting. Knit one, purl one, drop three, and all that kind of stuff, which was lovely. Lovely. There was a little story in the papers the other day about... I've never knitted. No. I always wanted a knitting machine where you put the wool in and you slide this thing backwards and forwards, and it like making carpets. It turns out knitting. Have you ever seen knitting machines? Yeah, they're very famous. You put the different wool in, you put in the pattern or whatever it is, and then you just literally slide this thing on rails backwards and forwards. Oh, that's nice. No, they're very expensive. You wouldn't get one under £300, I shouldn't imagine. It's a little bit naff, I'm afraid, for me, but I quite like the idea. Yeah, there was a story doing the rounds that Eamon Holmes has upset Ruth by saying he wants to go and live back in Belfast. No, he hasn't. Why, but what, dump her here? Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Sacha Baron Cohen and his wife, Isla Fisher, have permanently relocated to Perth. Good. As long as they stay over there, I couldn't care less. The most unfunny man you could ever see in your entire life. Vin Diesel shares a tribute to his late Fast and Furious co-star called Paul Walker. Miss you always. I know who Vin Diesel is, but I don't know who Paul Walker is. But he would have turned 48 on Sunday. It's nothing, is it? Nothing age. He was also in Fast and Furious. I'm none the wiser. Died in a car crash. Oh, God. The Rolling Stones will change their famous tongue logo from red to black on their tour in memory of Charlie Watts. Yeah, they're still touring, of course. You know, don't want to miss the money, do we? Let's face it. And so that's a nice thing to do. Yes, it's what he would have wanted. What he would have wanted. Orlando Bloom. He's on his paddleboard again. This time he's actually got clothes on. The last time he didn't have any clothes on at all. And he was pictured. There's a great white shark which is swimming just behind him. Yeah, off the coast of Malibu. And somebody got a picture of this large juvenile white shark circling in the waters below, just waiting for him to fall off. There you go, here comes lunch. Over in the Faroe Islands, I'm afraid the annual massacre took place of dolphins, where there's a picture in one of the papers today, you won't like it, of about 30 or 40 dolphins who've been slit open by the people who live on the islands. It's massacre time. They herd them all into the shore. The sea turns red. You can see the picture in the paper today of the sea, because they use the meat. They store it up, and that's how they survive. But these animals have no idea what's going on, and they're literally butchered. Children butcher them. These people are filthy. Disgusting people. Tom Hiddleston packs on the PDA, public display of affection, with his bikini-clad girlfriend called Zor Ashton. And I've heard of him, but I don't know what he does, and I don't know who she is. She's bound to be some model or something. They always say that, don't they? If you can't think of anything that somebody is, it's like there's some footballer I mentioned in the paper today with his girlfriend. Oh, he's the possible next Bond. God, they're not going to make more of these bloody films, are they? Let's hope they can bring them back to a reasonable time. 30 minutes, I think, would be nice, including credits. But, yeah, there was somebody from, I think, Dawn Ward's daughter up in Cheshire. Her daughter is laughingly described as a model. And she's 23 and she's going to get engaged. So that's nice, isn't it? Dawn Ward was the one who came up with these injections for the GC. You know, another dreary from the revolting people of Cheshire. I mean, the housewives of Cheshire really are the worst people I've ever seen. Louise Redknapp leaving the BBC studios. Still no work, love. I don't know. It's a lovely picture. She was in Salford. Oh, God, that must have been a shock for you, love. They must have wondered who you were. But she's wearing a bag, which is Fendi, and a black Balenciaga heels, which is lovely. And she obviously thinks she's in the business. Oh, why? And skinny jeans. I mean, she's fairly ancient now, poor soul. And they say she was making an exit from the breakfast studio. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Let's face it, that's the best way out of it. Yeah, what you do? I'm sorry, who are you? Louise Redknapp. Oh, right. What do you do, love? I was in Eternal. Oh, right. Love her. What were their hits? Do tell. Shouldn't imagine they'd know. Britney Spears fans in a spin after her Instagram account is deleted. But she insisted it was her decision to take a little break from social media to celebrate her engagement. We like her. Don't like the father. Horrible, horrible piece of work. Kate Garraway looking radiant in her black patterned dress, while Davina McCall and Megan McKenna. I don't know who Megan McKenna is. Is she somebody of any note? Is she? Reality show or something like that? I haven't got any pictures of her, thank God for that. Other stars in attendance. Dave Beckham with his funny hair. Frank Lampard. Hello, Frank. You all right? Are you all right? Pop it, honestly. Rod Stewart and Prince William. But the awards hosted by Davina McCall, that's why we laughed when it went. The other awards hosted by Fern McCann. I mean, God in heaven. Scraping the barrel a little bit. Sharon Osbourne gives an update on Ozzy's health. Sharon! I mean, I didn't even know he was still alive. I mean, I really had no idea. We like her, though. We like her, although she appears to have had a bit of work done on the face. Yeah, it looks like, mind you, David Beckham looked as though he'd had a bit of work done on his face. He doesn't quite look right. The hair looks a bit funny. And he took his mother to this awards ceremony, Sandra. Now, we like Sandra, but I'm beginning to wonder, where was Victoria? Perhaps she was busy. Perhaps she was sort of trying to... Yeah, she was watching the Met Gala on the television. But Dave looks like he's had some sort of Botoxing type thing. If the face doesn't quite look right, and there was a mystery scratch on his nose, but it's the hair that's the funny thing. It must have come out of a tin or something, honestly. Kanye West has followed Kim Kardashian again, and they're welcome to each other. The world's most boring couple. Vinnie Jones revealed he had warned Kylie Minogue, her former fiancé, was a so-and-so. Vinnie Jones. Who takes any notice of what that old has-been comes up with? Nothing at all. But Vinnie Jones was not a fan of Kylie's former fiancé. What's it going to do with you, love? Why don't you go back to sort of, I don't know what you do. Also, are you sure you're 50? Dannii Minogue was in The Masked Singer Australia, many calling her stunning. She's 50, I should imagine she's had everything done, but then, that's what people do nowadays. Holly Willoughby finds herself conflicted about son Harry 12 getting the vaccine. Don't even think about it, love, don't even think about it, OK. And what was the other one? Oh, yes. They were talking about Kim Kardashian and that ridiculous outfit, sort of a cross between... Alien and something that looked completely ridiculous. Zayn Malik has slammed Simon Cowell, raps something rude about the Queen, which I can't tell you, and says he beat Kanye West by breaking wind in shock lyrics. I think you've had your time, love, haven't you, really? Shock lyrics. Oh, we're so shocked by that, Zayn. Oh, my goodness me, honestly, I don't know where to begin. The lyrics on the Bradford-born musician's new album. A musician, I tell you, it gets funnier by the day, doesn't it, really? Lewis Hamilton... turning heads. He went to the Met Gala. I'm sorry, love, what were you doing there? It's for people in the fashion industry, not buffoons. He was wearing a lace net skirt over his suit on Monday. They must have looked at him and gone, I'm sorry, love, what are you wearing? You're a racing driver. For that reads somebody who puts their foot down on the accelerator. I try and do it and I get, a speeding ticket. He does it and he looks like a complete plank. They say he looks suave. No, he looked like a complete and utter turnip, I'm afraid, but he always has done. He's got no sense of fashion whatsoever. No sense of fashion. I was a little bit disappointed, actually. I thought he could have come up with something a little bit more interesting. But obviously, the people who sort of dress him, I think they must sit there wetting themselves laughing, going, he's worn it, he's only worn it. Poor old Lewis, never mind, love. You keep driving the cars around, which is very good, and it's good that you do that. Listen, thank you very much indeed for your company. I can't believe tomorrow's Thursday. Cannot believe tomorrow's Thursday. But the more you download, the happier we are, and the more the podcast department, of which is vast, as you can imagine, in this building, is very grateful. So thank you very much indeed. to all of you for downloading and make us the number one podcast in this. And I think in this building. We're very pleased about that. I mean, that's something we've got to hang on to, isn't it? But all due to your help. So bless your heart. And we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Okay? Till then, take care.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, you can listen live to Steve Allen, Monday to Friday from 4 a.m. on FM in London, across the UK on DAB digital radio and on Global Player.